Okay, we're on Powell heading eastbound, and we're about to take a right up here on at the light. This is Foster Boulevard. Foster is a slice of old world Portland, hardcore, gritty. My imagination has always been running as to what the past is of not only Foster, but also outer East Portland. So the vibe is different, and there's a pretty high concentration of energy around 66th. I would consider that another portal or vortice. Again, a lot of people believe in such things or don't believe in such things because they don't have the sensitivity. So there's a hardcore primal energy that runs through southeast of a sexual nature. I can feel it. And a lot of people in a sex-obsessed society, there's not a lot of adult conversations about the primal sexual energies in the city and how they can be sometimes low when things are out of balance. A lot of people can't comprehend that, wrap their mind around the concept. Some of you can. So this is one of those areas. That's why you see the the lingerie shop, also known as a. I won't get into it. You see more porno stores. You see more strip clubs because that also in this vortex place I used to work out at, Jungle Gym, which is right over here. Actually, it's now called Foster Fitness. I don't go there anymore for certain reasons. I like quieter gyms, but it is a gym I would recommend if someone's looking for an alternative to the big box stores, to the big box gyms, like 24-hour fitness. So you can see the old world meeting the new. It's a place for used tires. I'm actually going to Pick and Pull, looking for a used car battery. This battery's about done. A lot of Vietnamese, Chinese, Asian businesses. Problems throughout time with violence and drug addiction, in particular meth. Now it's where the energy starts changing. I'm wondering, how the Indians lived in this particular part of Portland a long time ago. Sometimes you could see the expressions of the old world in the people. It's not always a spiritual thing. Sometimes it's just a nitty-gritty, just urban blight thing. This is the corner of 67th that we're coming up onto. And for a long time, it's been pretty much an empty building. I saw in some local paper how they have a mural there. Okay, well, people dancing and drinking the night away. Okay, well, all right, that's their mural. This is 67th and Foster. That's a dollar store, used to be a thriftway. So back in the day, in the 80s, in the 90s, this is like a hardcore slice of urban life. And there were a lot more tough guys, a lot more people fighting. Not necessarily the most conscious thing, but it was a different time then. Men were different. Also more blue-collar workers, no hipsters. Yeah, maybe had the, maybe it was a cool version of it, also known as a bohemian. But traditionally blue-collar, and you could see remnants of the old world, for example. So it's interesting. It's an interesting boulevard to drive down. I would say it's a lot safer than it used to be, but it still has that vibe. 72nd is also a main artery of energy. Now it gets nastier once you're going up and down. This is known as Felony Flats, this point forward, and beyond 82nd. Going down to 82nd Flavel, shallow prostitutes. And other issues, meth addicts, thieves. If it's not bolted down, it will be stolen. A lot of people on bikes everywhere, living the life, on the run, on the go. And then you see the new world, people painting something new, moving in, fresh land. Some people don't know about the energy, but eventually they start to notice that there's a predominant sense of desperation. And again, I attribute that to the environmental factors, the spiritual sickness of the city. Then fortunately, so many Portlanders that don't have actual sensitivity, they misinterpret as actual hate of Portland, which has been grossly disrespectful to me over the years. Again, more evidence of blue-collar stuff. There's some windows for sale. Looks like there's something else for sale behind the skate, other material. You'd think that they wouldn't be able to afford, unless they're, selling a high quantity, the rent. But there we have it. That's a trouble bar. There was a shooting at that strip club there. I was mentioning it on my show on OTB. And this is the Fred Meyer on Foster. definitely sees a lot of problems over the years. That is a produce market, not organic, mostly all GMO, but produce market nonetheless. We are now crossing 82nd. We're at the stoplight, major intersection, vortex of energy here. This used to be a Tom Peterson, who was the main sponsor of Portland wrestling back in the day, back in the 1970s, 1980s. Back on like a TV set was like $1,000. Come on down, Tom Peterson. It was all right there. This also has been a trouble spot for prostitution over the years. I used to know somebody that worked at that gas station over there before his father sold it. A couple more Asian restaurants here. You'll notice on the east side there's a lot of this cheap imported Chinese top to bottom. That's like the 7-Eleven of cheap clothing from overseas. And on 82nd you have more Oriental grocery stores. I can think of at least 3 or 4. And there's one Safeway that closed and became an Asian grocery store, which is good to find certain things. It's not all healthy, but there's certain spices there that you can incorporate into your diet. You can find things there that you're not going to find at Safeway, Fred Meyer, or whatever grocery stores are in your area. Like I said, Blvd, things get really crazy down that way, and it's been that way for years. So I've always contemplated if there's a demon portal out here in outer East Portland, which is now we're crossing the 82nd boundary. And it's not quite no man's land, but I'll tell you what, it's a whole different vibe than the hipsterville. So how this area is going to thrive, survive, evolve, or regress, or a little bit of both, as Portland becomes more populated and the businesses start changing, that's going to be interesting to see how it unfolds. But I do advocate that we bring higher consciousness into our lives, into our intentions, why we do what we do, why we move to where we're moving, and what we're doing with the energies that we're interacting with. Coming up on the I-205, and we're going past I-205. There's a U-Haul operation. Again, old world meets new world. You're seeing the new design over here. This is also a vortex. Everything's been going diagonal since I started this camera. So a lot of stuff is straight, but then there's a couple diagonals. There's Sandy, which goes one way, and there's Foster, which goes another. So now we're about at 92nd and Foster. Someone put an obelisk, and some of you know what an obelisk is. It means power center. And I've always felt there was something about 92nd and Foster. Well, it just so happens that in the last year, a couple of years, there's a mini obelisk on an island. And we're not going to be able to see it because it's on the other side, but it's roughly over that way. This is not an area that I would want to live in. I remember my dad had an apartment out in Foster years ago. A lot of the hardcore homeless camps that you may have heard about in Portland along the Springwater corridor, it's not too far from here. There's a patch of green that way. But as nice as nature is, and as nice as it is to get out, there's also certain elements that hang around certain nature areas. So it's good to be familiar with the area before you put yourself in a situation where you might have to interact with a tweaker, which is one of the most painful things, annoying things, irritating things, and in some cases dangerous things that I can think of, is to interact with a tweaker. Obelisk is over that way. A friend had me watch their place while they were gone within blocks of here, over that way. Felt really, really weird. And not a place that I want to stay, or wanted to stay. Again, there's a vibe of poverty and desperation in a lot of the residents, even though you see some nicer cars. And that vibe can feel a little intoxicating sometimes. So you have a lot of tow truck drivers out here. It starts getting a little greener, but we're not heading out to the country. It just ends up being more like poverty central, crime central, sexual assault central. And that's how it's been for a number of years. So I'm looking for the pick and pull, the strip club, dancers. Spring chicks are here. Wait a minute. That's for the farm store. The farm store. The spring chicks are here. That's for the farm store, not the titty club. Oh my dear. Just everything's so normalized. Insanity, normalized. All right, I think we're getting closer. I hope we are. Patch of green over here, Springwater Corridor. Just watch your step. Not a place where I would go alone as a woman, but I'm sure plenty do with their dogs. I want to say that dogs can get shot, dogs can go overwhelmed by more than one man, so dogs are not necessarily an ultimate protector when they don't have the intelligence of a human being. So just a word of the wise and an observation that I don't think it's the most intelligent thing to expect a dog to protect you. And I don't know if there's going to be a parking spot here. We're at Pick and Pull. This would be a good place to get a battery. A lot of plaid pantries in neighborhoods like this. And I had a friend that worked at a plaid pantry in the 90s. And he was also bouncing at nightclubs during that time period. Stopped a lot of theft back in the day, at least then when plaid pantry was not insured. Stopped a couple robberies. So I've heard a lot of wild stories about plaid pantry at night. Portland is rich with its American Chinese restaurants, and you see more of the good ones in the less affluent parts of town, which are mostly now Thai or Vietnamese restaurants, which are far more popular than the Americanized Chinese restaurants, which a lot of them still put MSG in their food. Alright, I'm going to turn the camera off and wish me luck getting everything that I need to get done to get out of here in the next couple of days.